thank you so much for the feedback. Nimekuwa nikipata feedback hapa na pale. Thank you so much. Tutafanya corrections hapa na pale as we go. But as usual, our show is always made up of 3 segments. That is in the courtroom. We get to see recently decided cases. Then the legal bulletin, Jerry anapekua news hapa na pale. Then we analyze any of the trending news matters sheria. And then our final segment, it is legal curiosities, where Nyiha brings us a fun fact about law that the common Mwananchi didn't know about its applicability, or rather you didn't know it exists. Then we get to dissect it. You can interact with us on our social medias at Sharia Hub on YouTube. Please make sure to subscribe, to like, comment, and share. And we are live on Shine FM 99.9. Sijui tuende tu straight ama mko na kitu ya kuniambia before tuendelee?
Sisi hatuna mengi ya kusema. Ila tuanze show.
Before tuanze, yesterday kuna mtu alisema atakujia. Just take care, guys. Take care. Anyway, I want to go into that.
Say the name. The cabinet secretary.
Ni umesema, si mimi. Nigeria amesema si mimi. Jo huko unasikia ni yeye, si mimi.
Why are you going through the corner?
I'm just cautioning. Take care.
He said what he said.
Nyiha, take care.
Miss Gio mambo yenu.
Mimi nakupenda sana, take care. Hapo X, take care.
Labda nakujia tuna mazuri.
By the way,
this is the festive season. Stop warning us.
Jerry, unagasingi watu hivyo.
Mr. Kikusikia ati mmeona Jerry mahali
Free Jerry, free Jaga.
Ati mnakongana picha yake kweli? Tumeba group tumjue. Anyway, aside from that, I think we just get into things. And today I was reading an amazing case. It has been in court for a while. Now, you all remember during SGR construction, kuna mashamba za watu zilifyekwa hapa na pale. So many people actually lost their lands and they were entitled for compensation. As we know, in Kenya there is something called compulsory land acquisition by the government, but it does not just happen as if we are in a banana country. No, there's a procedure for that. You need to state the reasons for the acquisition and all other procedures to be followed. So apparently, the suing party is suing on behalf of the deceased father. I think the land had been taken for the construction of SGR. Then 7-10 years later, they have not been compensated. So the parties who are responding to these, I think the let me just get the proper respondents to this case. The first one was Kenya Railways Corporation and National Land Commission. So they were to, na kitu linishangaza, alikuwa na mashamba mingi. Yote wako na mashamba, sawa. Yeah, but he had not gotten the compensations for the land he had offered for construction of SGR. So you mlisome your case, and what did you get generally from the case, Jerry? Maybe nianze na wewe.
So just to allude from the facts of the case, this is compulsory acquisition, as Collins has put it. Basically, when the government wants land to do some things like building infrastructure, like the SGR in this case, they can walk up to you and Collins mentioned something about you are offering your land. For compulsory acquisition, you are not offering your land. The government is simply coming, taking your land and compensating you. But as he said, there is a procedure that must be followed. The Kenya is not a banana republic.
Which is that banana republic? Wewe unayata kukujia usimtaje.
That is a story for another day. So there are procedures which ought to be followed. The government can take your land to do things of national and public interest only with the disclaimer that they're supposed to compensate you for the value of the land that they have acquired from you. Let me not say take. So this case was one of the government had not yet compensated the plaintiff, the complainant in this suit, and that's why they are before the court. Actually, the court did remind the government of the obligation to compensate these landowners whose land was taken during the building of the standard gauge railway.
Yes,
And this is just a reminder to all of us that yes, when the government is in need of your land for public and national interest, that is another disclaimer. They can take it and compensate you for the value of the land.
Nyiha, jirani yako ama nyinyi mshaikuwa supposed to give land to government?
Where?
Kushaikuwa na compulsory acquisition at your place?
I don't really think so. I've never, I don't know, maybe there was that I'm not privy to. Unajua?
Your ancestors?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But generally, after analyzing the case, what did you see from it?
First of all, as you can like see from the case, the plaintiff was suing on behalf of the dead father. So I think it's also important that when people are moving to court, they should establish that they are the rightful owners to the land, because like that was also an issue for determination,
Yes.
whether the complainant was a rightful owner of the land. So yeah, I think that is something people should consider, especially like when they are suing. For example, the complainant was suing on behalf of their dead father, so they should consider if they are the rightful owners, so that, yeah.
I think when it comes to establishing the ownership of the land, it is provided in the land, the act that deals with the land.
The Land Act.
Registration Act.
There's the Land Act, there's the Land Registration Act.
Now, it is clear, once you've provided the title deed, you've actually proven the land belongs to you. And from my assessment after the case, this is what I thought. In property theory, I think there's a way different people try to decipher what property is, especially when it comes to land. And one of the people who define properties are the lawyers, and they define it using the sticks of bundles. That's why mko hapa. That's why mko hapa. Now, one of the rights that someone is entitled to, it is the right to enjoy whatever comes out of their property, right? Now, I'm assuming the guy is giving the land to the government, and he's entitled for that compensation. It's not that he's not. It is his property, and
Yes.
he's so much entitled to it. So by you trying to, take him through corners and stuff, it is just causing a confusion. But hata kama ni aje, he doesn't know the process, but what he knows, I gave land to the government and I expect something from the government to compensate on the land I've given. But ni sawa. This is our government, ni hivyo, lazima zungusho hapa na pale. And if you won't stand for your right, sometimes zitakanyagiwa tu na ziende. If the guy wasn't that persistent, I think angetoboa, but he was so persistent, and finally he got the compensation from the court. Just a minute. Yeah. he got the compensation from the
Did
court.
he get compensation?
Not
from the
compensation.
courts?
An
order.
Yeah, an order.
Lakini si
Compensated. Sasa kumebaki
He has not yet.
execution.
Yes, it's not yet been executed.
Yeah, it's not yet been. Wacha to hope it will be executed.
Remain positive.
acha ni
Mnasahau
muongeleshe.
mliharibu budget.
Mliangusha vitu June, alafu mko hapa mnataka mpewe pesa ya SGR.
Acha nisiongee sana please, I have a long way to
Anito Mdoe Nduria. Mdoe Nduria. Tunakuombea ukipata hiyo pesa kumbuka Desta. Kuna mtu alikusaidia at least niko hapa. I talked about your case. But anyway, we hope the best. But the best from that. Sasa Jerry, before to malize what happened kwa hiyo kesi, let me give an overview of what it is expected if the government is planning to acquire your land. Now it is guided by section 107 of the Land Act. Kitu ya kwanza, the National Land Commission is originally prompted by the national or the county government through the CS ama the county executive member respectively. So the land must be acquired for the public purpose or in public interest. But people never actually try to explain what is public interest. Juu hata mimi ikikuwa MP mi bado ni public. So ukisema naiba pesa for the public interest.
I think for property it is quite clear what public interest is, because in a property law class we are told that there is public land that belongs to the people, but the government is the custodian
of it.
Yes, the steward on behalf of the people. So public land basically is used for public uses like transport,
Lakini
public facilities, public schools.
Unajua government inakonga tu dictator inherently. Under land acquisition, you can only acquire private land. Wezi acquire land ya gava.
Yes.
Sasa kama mimi nitaka in public interest,
you know, the way they acquire, it's only to private land. If it's public land, it's a strategic position. Why should they acquire it and it's already theirs?
as a private citizen, I can't just acquire.
For you,
land ya gava.
or as a custodian of
like money is object to me sijaelewa. Mbona tu ati you can acquire mine compulsory but I can't acquire yours compulsory?
because you don't have the constitutional authority even to do that.
Sovereignty of the people.
Okay, we are going to dive into another conversation on sovereignty. But as you shout that word, just remember Kenya is a representative democracy.
Mnakuwa represented alafu hamtaki kuheshimu your representatives.
Your parliament is also the people.
That's why I said public interest is never defined.
But in the case of land, it is. How is that land being utilized for public interest? There is a public road, there is a public health facility, there is a public school. Public interest in matters of land is very clear. Very clear. Because I can't acquire your land to build my house. That is not serving the public.
Are you sure? Jerry, are you sure?
So for land, we are not supposed to like dive into the.
It was a define vitu. It is.
For land, it speaks for itself.
Anyway, ni sawa. So also, let me go on kidogo as we get the procedure. Under section 107 and 110 of the Land Act, the National Land Commission must then publish in the Gazette a notice of the intention to acquire the land. The notice is also to be delivered to the registrar as well as every person who appears to have interest in that land. Then, as part of the National Land Commission due diligence strategy, the National Land Commission must also ensure that the land to be acquired is authenticated by the survey department, for the rather obvious reason that the owner be identified. In the course of such inquiries, the National Land Commission is also to inspect the land and do all things as may be necessary to ascertain whether the land is suitable for the intended purpose. So come Ichukua and they want to do something, then these surveyors come in. So they do the survey, and they, after the survey, they realize it is not suitable for the purpose being, intended. So wanaweza divert purpose yao na ikuwe mambo mengine juu they've already acquired the land na imeenda. So tulikuwa tutaka kujenga shule, lakini juu hatuwezi jenga shule, tunaamua kuweka hapo kampuni ya simiti.
But you can always challenge in court. You can always challenge.
But ishaenda. I think the only
But you can challenge still.
I think the only issue you've seen that is persistent when it comes to compulsory land acquisition, when it comes to compensation, bro. When it comes to compensation, mimi unipate na shamba yangu uko South Mugirango, it is like niko na mimea, niko na nini, it's so nini. Then when you want to compensate me, how do you determine the value, Jerry? Ukinipea shamba mali kwingine, and the fertility.
But they can give you value. Money is worth the value of the land.
I don't trust our government. Siko baya.
They will bring their valuers. Wewe ulete wako.
Na kasi siwezi afford one.
Evidence kwa karatasi.
Yeah. Anyway, sijui Nyiha, what do you have to say about all this?
But before Nyiha speaks, I also have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have taken a loan,
Mm-hmm.
and the land you have
Mm.
is the security for the loan, and you've defaulted the loan, and the government compulsory acquires your land and they compensate you.
So you are compensated, so you lipe loan kwanza.
So what is supposed to happen there? Will the government now pay the loan you have, or they will pay you directly? Because people might easily run away from liability.
Nyiha, wewe wamekupata tu hivyo, utafanya aje?
I think there's something we call, is it attached? I can't remember the term. Anytime attached mean you attach your debts where the person you have a debt to ndo analipa directly. I don't know. You know the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I
know the
like
situation, but the terms due.
the situation. I'd like to think that is the kind of system that is they're likely easier to adopt. Though that is just like the hypothetical case. I'm not really sure what happens. Yeah. So I'd like to think even ndo wangefanya gava inge compensate to bank directly.
Alafu sasa shamba pia still you supposed to be paid.
Sasa utalipa je na pesa zenye unafaa kulipa ndo zimeenda kwa loan.
Sasa lakini,
But also, don't you think, as the National Land Commission is doing their due diligence, they will be able to see charges upon land?
so are they going to, anyway, okay, sasa hiyo swali tumachia audience.
Leo swali wacha wa brainstorm. Homework.
Fikirieni hapo, jinsi hata mimi nimechoka kufikiria. Acha ufikirie hapo alafu.
But you are the legal mind.
Kuna hata legal minds ziko.
Zimelala.
Acha kusema zimelala.
Zimefika mwisho
For me, I will say the lecturer doesn't set the exam and answer the questions.
So unajitoa. Naomba nijitoe kidogo.
Hebu nitoe hapo ukitoaga.
Usitubakishe.
When ni assistant lecturer.
Alafu
wewe umejitoa aje?
Mimi ni school administrator.
But when the National Commission, Land Commission does the due diligence, they will be able to flag all these kind of things and give the appropriate directive
So they should compensate the bank as well as...
They will give an appropriate directive. They can, when the government, replaces the land that they given you, they can charge the other land. They can transfer the charge to the other land. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh, now the land has been given.
An appropriate directive, considering what kind of compensation that you've been given.
Anyway, aside from that, our viewers, please chew that as we take a short break. But just so you know, you can interact with us on our social medias. Personally, my social medias at Colin Esmieku. Form ni Daystar. We're taking a short break. We'll be back in a few with the legal bulletin.
See you then.
Yep.
Welcome back to the mission we have called as usual. We are going to legal talk show where we get to the live. Legal efficacy is legal jargons for the common Mwananchi. My name is COLINAS, calling it creative what's coming of SCM. And we're getting into a second segment, and that is the legal bulletin. So the legal bulletin is very unusual. He's going through some of our issues, and he gets to give us
related to law. So Jerry, leo uko na yapi? Uko na yapi?
For the legal bulletin today, it is not an us thing, but it's rather an opinionated session. So there is this thing that we're going to simplify it into one question. CM Collins, not Nyiha.
Do you want
Jaga.
Is
it time to constitute the Iebc? Is it time to do that? Few months to the election. We don't have a sitting commission, that is the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. By now, they're supposed to have reviewed the constituency boundaries, the commission. It's not constituted, hence nothing has happened to that effect. Some of the protesters from earlier in the year want to recall some of their MPs. This can't happen. There is no Iebc. There are vacancies in elective positions. One, we can see the MP of Ugunja, the former Honorable Cabinet Secretary Opio Andai. Now he's the CS for Energy and Petroleum. His constituency doesn't have representation in the parliament as we speak. A by-election cannot happen. There is no Iebc. So the lack of Iebc is going to bring very many problems as we progress to the elections. The boundaries having not being reviewed, it means we are behind the process of elections. Election is a process. Election is not just that single day where people cast their votes. It is a process. And 2 years and a few months to the election, if you keep in mind that voters are supposed to be registered throughout the 5 years of the tenure of the existing government, we are now cutting that time short to 2 years and a few months. So it means there will be less registered voters. So even when the Iebc is formed now, they will start running to chase deadlines rather than doing what they're supposed to do. And the funnier part of this is, the more we keep delaying this, the more trouble it creates.
Yes.
As in, now it it is 8:13 p.m. We have already lost one day without the IEBC. It's not going to be formed tomorrow. Kesho ishaenda.
Exactly.
Because you notice that for IEBC to be formed, a selection panel has to be constituted so that they can choose the IEBC. The selection panel.
Ataiko.
Ataiko.
Okay. This is my honest view of the whole saga concerning the IEBC. I feel like it is so much umbrageous when government tends to prioritize some matters and exclude others which need more attention. There are some things when they come before the parliament, they tend to receive the alacrity that, that is just unprecedented. I'll just give a very genuine example. The recent impeachment thing. It was received with passion in our two houses. But what about the IEBC? Because, IEBC, it's so important because it is the commission, or rather the commission that helps us, elect those who come into authority. And it is supposed to be given the attention it deserves. It's been 2 years since the former IEBC commissioner, Wafula Chebukati, resigned. And that was last year. And after he resigned, I think you're aware of the four when you walikata kubali matokeo. Walikata kubali matokeo and they were forced to go home. But it's been 2 years now. And it reminds me, imekuwa tu juzi tukikuwa maandamano. One of the reasons Gen Z went to the streets.
Kikuwa.
Wewe umejitoa mbio.
Actually, one of the reasons why Gen Z walikuwa kwa streets, aside from the main thing, the main compelling reason pili kwa to reconstitute the IEBC. Leave alone that. Last year we had Mandamano, the opposition Mandamano, that's Mio. And we came up with a panel that was to sit down and come up with a report, the NADCO report. The NADCO report had some amendments to Article 159, sub-Article 2, I guess, of the Constitution regarding the IEBC something. Now, all those things, I think, are the things that are trying to delay the whole process. Leave alone that. We had some panel in Ilikuwa come up. I think also those people are facing some legal battles. And the whole thing is just delaying the reconstitution of IEBC.
Yes, the problem with the constitution of IEBC, it's not something that you can pinpoint and say you are the reason the IEBC has not been constituted. Because the selection panel, they're supposed to have an appointee from political parties, have the political parties appointed.
Wow.
Kuna parliament. So it's not something that you can pin down on one person. Yes. It's a process that has been delayed by multiple stakeholders and it's just a call to action. We've seen, or we are going to see during the breaks, some of our viewers, how they will tackle the issue. So the lack of IEBC at this moment is quite surprising. I'm just sitting back to see how they will get back on track on the electoral process.
Lakini unajua tutajipanga tu, msijali. We have everything figured, so tutajipanga tu hapa na pale. Nyiha, umenyamaza sana. Kuna mtu ameapply kwa hiyo kitu unajua.
Mtu ni mimi.
Clark.
Mtu ni mimi. Si Clark. Utaniona mahali.
Ni mbona tu umenyamaza tu?
Uko na degree. Ama Kenya haijalishi.
Degree tunaendea River Road. Anyway,
degree muhimu.
Yes, tumekuambia si shida. Tumekuambia si shida.
Degree ingekuwa, let me not wacha nisiongee sana. Leo I choose peace. But like I really think when you think about it deeply, I'll just like leave our viewers with a rhetorical question. Is this a strategy?
I was to thank you, Nyiha.
Because the more
It's
you
not a
think,
strategy.
No, I was to ask the same thing.
wewe mambo yako,
Anasemanga yeye ni
mambo
impartial.
yako.
Anasemanga yeye ni impartial, but the impartiality is never seen.
The impartiality is
Very
wanting.
impartial
You are never impartial.
moderator.
Impartiality yako. I think
Neutral third party.
I'd like to, because as Collins has highlighted, sorry, Collins, jamani, he has highlighted the way some matters are being received with anticipation,
Alacrity.
with some sort of zeal. You can see
Yeah, the
there's
energy.
thrill, and when you look at some of the matters, I won't give my opinion. I'll just be impartial. I'd like to say they're not really urgent, is it?
Mhm.
So like, why is the Iebc Reconstitution being delayed? Kuna delay you have said we can't pinpoint it to one person.
Yes.
But kuna hiyo delay, like we can just, this issue has been brought up. I remember when some of us wanted to recall. Nah,
Why are
we
you
can't
saying
do
some of
that.
us? Some of
Tulikuwa na wewe, Jerry.
Jerry, to be honest, has rooted for this government since they were.
No,
I'm publicly saying that.
Unajua sahi
Neutral.
tuko under what? The
unbiased.
magnifying glass.
Uko neutral.
We Jerry, wacha uongo shwali. Kwa neutral hadi saa ngapi?
Your neutrality is questioned, bro.
It's diluted. And it's wanting.
No, because we wake up every day and we pinpoint a lot of things to the government. Sijaisikia siku mmekuja mkasema by the way.
Mimi niliwa upload for
Ruto, thank you
delegating
for Taifa Care.
delegating money
100 million for
the
femicide.
femicide. Hapo na hapo I give them 100 everything.
Lakini mimi hata
Ruto, thank you for not signing finance bill.
Hiyo hata tusiongelele.
thank you for cancelling Adani.
Yes, you don't appreciate.
Na tulisema watu
Then
mnapinga
enough.
mzee kanyaga airport.
Sisi ndo tunaenda Paris na ngamia. Tunapitia pale Trans-Saharan. Because
na mko tu hapo mnapiga nyinyi ndo mnaenda na nyungo maana.
tunaenda na flying sticks na kujia pale South
So what I do is
Mugirango.
not being a fanatic of the government. I try to give them points.
Credit.
At least we meet at the middle where we can negotiate. Yes.
Lakini
Impartial.
okay.
We-
Impartiality yako bro. Hata hatuwezi describe your impartiality. But it's so much okay pia ku appraise not to appraise to say at least they've done this kai kumizi. Mi kuna watu unajua uchumi ya uumizi. So hautamsikia ki complain at you igava and stuff. They won't complain. Jua uchumi umizi. Lakini ule the common mwananchi sasa ile vitu zinapandishwa huko juu, yeye ndo anafeel your impact. They're the one feeling the impact. So as much as pia tunasema nini pia lazima pia to accept the thing kwa ground. But niko tu na shida moja. As a Kenyan, as a country, are we really ready for revolution as we say? You can't say we're ready for revolution when we choose to go this path. Hata tu nipe an example, and I was mad, Jerry, to be honest. Recently what happened in to the former deputy president, ilikuwa wapi, whatever the
Where
place
he was attacked.
hiyo kitu ilikuwa niliudhika nayo sana. Sio ubaya, he's not my father, lakini niliudhika juu. Why will we say we are really ready for revolution but 200 inakufanya ufanye kitu ufala as a patriotic citizen?
Really gani?
Kwani ulikuwa
the scene is currently under investigation.
Busi lete speculations hapa.
mimi hata sifanye nipende na baku huku nje.
Jerry,
to to those who are behind
No, Jerry,
and
it's
to
wrong.
apprehend them.
It's wrong.
200 imetokea wapi sasa?
See,
200 is just a general phrase of the small thing they received. Wacha tuseme
Maybe hawa watu
kitu
wadia
kidogo.
kureceive. Maybe
By the way,
walijipeleka huko. Why are you trying to say there is somebody pulling strings?
sawa.
It has not
Ni sawa,
been
ni
proved.
sawa, ni sawa. Innocent till proven
tunaona
guilty.
Yes,
ni
yes.
partial.
It's okay.
Impartiality.
Impartial.
It's okay. We had a talk with DCJ and she said, if you don't have the evidence, acha kupayuka. Acha kupayuka.
Mtu
So you don't
alikuja
have the
kuleta mambo ya
evidence.
state capture.
Akazimwa. If you don't have...
You don't have the evidence.
Nyamaza.
Though I think it's a very sad state of affairs generally, especially in the century. Unaweza imagine in 2024 you want to, after people have fought for this to be a democratic country, then some people want to take us back to the era of dictatorship. And it's also very sad of how wacha tu niseme this with no fear of contradiction, some politicians are using they are feeding on the necessity of the common Mwananchi to manipulate them into
and it's just...
causing a lot of chaos in the country, and it's not right at all.
I think kitu mi uniudhi too, and Jerry won't agree with me, but the moment you just accept the, like, chukua, mi sina shido kitake bread ingine and stuff, lakini don't betray other citizens. You saw that during Mandamano. Literally, who are the goons? Who are the goons? Are the same people. Kwanza unattack VAT ya mtu na wewe unaenda kulala chini. What's that? Like, it's something that ilinikasirisha sana. And
that is a diversion from
We've seen how this issue of IBC
runs deep.
Yes, it is very deep. I let the conversation flow so that Collins can open up.
Wacha ongee hiyo tu mtoke.
Aongee mtoke.
I needed to vent, especially regarding that attack.
Ongee hiyo tu mtoke.
I had to vet this, and it is not the right thing to do. If you are listening to me, it's not the right thing to do.
Collins, unataka kwenda missing. Next week tuko na exam.
Easier, I'm sorry.
But on the bright side,
Easier to...
how will he go missing? Aje.
Acha tu ni apologize.
Ataenda atembe tu apotee.
Acha tu...
Wacha tuseme hivyo.
Nobody is out there to have him.
Wacha mimi sina create atashoot utainama. Ni kitu wangu tu. So acha niombe msamaha easier.
Why are you asking for forgiveness?
You stand on your ground
Kenya is a peaceful
for the
state
revolution.
which protects the freedom of expression. Say what you say.
I'm not ready to be an
Sema
activist.
kama with no fear of contradiction.
I can't say that. Kwanza kuna tunambianga go usenipea talent ya kuwa activist.
Kwa nini sasa if not you who?
Who?
If not, but wacheni niwaambie mimi
Because
pale
definitely not
2027. Simesikia impartiality.
No, how can you be an activist and remain impartial? Unabaki tu partial.
You can remain impartial.
Partial. Unabaki impartial.
Wewe Jerry mambo yako ni mingi. Lakini mimi pale 2027 naona kiasi mkiniona pale
Kwa ballot.
si kwa ballot activist devoted.
To do what?
Nani mimi? Nyi mtaniona tu. Kusipoenda mimi siko impartial, I won't lie.
Mimi
So mambo ikienda segemnege vile staki.
I'm publicly announcing my neutrality when it comes to politics. I'm very much neutral. Alafu, I'm sorry. Unajua
You don't have to be sorry.
Unasema
Kenya is
sorry
a
kwa
peaceful
nini?
state.
mimi mbona nikudanganye?
But back to our topic, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. I think we haven't heard what Nyiha has to say. Maybe she's of the opinion that it should not be formed. or maybe I'm trying to speak.
Unasikia kiuliza kali strategy?
Mimi nimewacha na rhetorical question, but of my opinion, I think it should be reconstituted as early as possible. Tuanze kesho, please.
Kwanza umeona maswali zimekuwa raised. Number 1, the voter registration.
Exactly.
Number 2, there are 5 constituencies without representatives. I think 3 wards without representatives. And they can't happen since we don't have an established IEBC. So I'm even wondering, vitu zitakuwaje?
Operation yao iko like how are they operating?
Are they going to finish the remaining term without having representatives? Anyway, our viewers, please engage with us, give us your feedback, tuambie what you think about that. Na mtusaidie kufikiria.
Before we finish, kindly to every adult mwenye atakuwa amefikisha miaka 18, kindly just vote. You know, there's something I don't like.
Nyiha, I'm sorry to cut you, but I had a dream last week, and I'm not declaring, but I was thinking, what if I just draft a bill, I present it to the parliament, and declare if you are 18 and above, you have to vote. Do you know why I was thinking of that? Number 1, Nyiha.
Propose and bring.
I'll write it. Yes. I'll take it to parliament. Let me tell you why, Jerry. Number 1, Nyiha, you've seen when we have a crisis as a country after election. Do you know what people say? Like last year, you are seeing the opposition people. They are saying, in 2027, we'll make sure the sitting regime is re-elected. Not because we love them, but to punish those who elected the people.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And some of the people who are saying that, they didn't participate in elections. Now, statistics have it, during the 2022 elections, how many registered voters did we have? 19 million, right? Out of 19 million, I think those who voted, are they roughly 15 million? 7 no. So roughly 15 million. What did the rest do? Now, leave alone that. Kenya, it can't be hard.
Some votes were spoiled. Some went to number 3 and 4.
Jerry misses kizi mambo yako. Let me talk to you.
Mambo ya Jerry.
Now,
we must look at these things.
How many adults do we have as a country? Let's just say maybe 30 million, and then the rest maybe to approximate. So the reason as to why I'm thinking of that, I just want it to be a whole people decision. Seti tunasema tunachia hawa ama tunachia hawa ndio tuchagulie government alafu ikuwe hivi na ikuwe hivi. Pia wewe chagua mtu na kikulate down ujue I also took part in placing them there. It's not that Nyiha did that for me. Are you getting my point? Yeah. So lakini hatiezi unajua. So hata
I think that is a very nice proposal. Actually it's very
tuandike.
Wewe andika peke yako. Make vote is a vote, but I think for like looking at the future of our country, especially you find young people, kwanza nyinyi young people, you know, sometimes I'm in shock because nyinyi mimi miaka yangu 40 mwachane na mimi, you find them talking about I won't engage in the elections. Nani, we are the ones who are studying, and I have a lecturer, I'll quote him. He was telling us about venye yeye ashazoea kustruggle hadi asha establish his system of struggle. Sisi ndo tutatoka tupate economy imetu flatline ya tuko na 10 billionaires and 1 million paupers. That is exactly actually the term he used. We are the ones who are supposed to build
let me
the
just
kind
name
of
him.
Usimname we, wacha tu tumpe credit hivyo. But like I really think everyone, we bora tu uko na sound mind, umefika miaka 18, and just don't vote because the crowds are voting for a certain person.
It's so wrong.
Take your time to think about the
Jerry,
wewe Jerry naona tukifight.
Maybe I've not stopped.
Jerry's
Jerry,
provoking me.
I've not
I
stopped.
swear Jerry atujongelea our president anything.
Me
I'm
just
not
joke.
sure.
Yeah, it's just on a very general note.
Yes.
It is.
So I'm urging every citizen, no? Bora tu utakuwa umefikisha miaka yako 18. Do the naona nasema ABC letwe. Mimi hata unajua hata sina hiyo voters. Last time wakivota I was still children.
Same.
So like see what if tulikuwa still children.
Mkosho na mimi.
Nani?
Mkosho mimi nilikuwa mtoto
How
2022.
still children?
Ai, 2022 ilikuwa 24 years. Tuendelee.
Sawa guka. But anyway, we should take it as our responsibility as
And
Kenyan
it's our right, by
citizens.
the way.
Yeah, now utilize your right. So that is all I'd urge
Before Jerry says
everyone.
anything.
I'm not even going to add anything.
No, before
I'm
Jerry
done.
says anything. I think Nyiha amesema kitu ya maana, and it is what people need to hear. Number one, I was watching JKL last week. I know you know who was there. And kuna
Who was there?
mnataka tu
Sasa si unasema tu
okay,
jina.
the co-to leader.
Who is the co-to leader?
Francis
Atwoli.
Atwoli.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now he was asked
Oh, he
about-
was there by the way.
Now he was asked about the proposal by not proposal. There's this senator who aspires to be president, and he had formed a 10-member committee. And me, to be honest,
Say the name of the senator.
okay, umtata.
Yes.
Hey bro, now when he was asked, I think kuna statements alisema na nilisikia vibaya. Juu he was saying the way you need sijui budget ya 10 billion sijui nini. Okay, it's okay. But as a country, do we really have to make it that much ati ndio tupeleke mtu to be a president? Is it the right procedure?
Ebu, let me interject like kiasi. Do you know the funny thing is your 500 huo mtu atawapea time ya campaign. Lazima itarudi.
Na ndio inarudi saa hii alafu
Lazima
mpaka
itarudi.
mnakasirika.
Lazima itarudi. Mimi nikiweza wapea nyi wote 300. Nakwambia itarudi.
Sasa
This is the mentality that
No,
is
sasa tunarudisha
breaking
pesa yetu.
Kenya.
Wewe Jerry wewe.
No.
Hata haufai kukua ukipea.
That is out of
people
generosity.
pesa. Oh Lord. I have no words.
Yeah, you remember in June, let me just use the example of US. I know that is another jurisdiction, but in US, it is the people who campaign, who raise the funds for the candidates. Now, Kamala alikuwa...
That is US now.
I've acknowledged that.
Yes,
I've acknowledged that. But I've also said, you remember in June, when Biden stepped down, Kamala came in. Overnight, they had already raised pesa ya kulisha Kenya for 3 years. Umona? And those are the citizens. So, ukisema ati hiyo pesa yote ni mtu mmoja ndo... Okay, tuseme tu kweli. Jerry, wewe...
So you see now Kenya is good because instead of
Forcing us to give them money
yes,
for their campaign.
the
They are
politicians are the
generous
ones
enough.
who are giving you
Jerry,
wanawachangia.
spread that generosity with me. Tukitoka hapa unipe zangu nitakuvutia pale.
Me hata sitamuuliza Jerry to general concern about this.
But all in all, I'm saying is, okay, about your concerns of the money and the money required to be president, all I can say is, watu wajipange sawa sawa. But also then, the IBC should be formed so as to tackle the voter registration, boundaries issue, by elections, those who want calling back the MPs. The IBC right now, even policy making, it has a lot of tasks to do and time is running out. So the IBC should be reformed. That was legal bulletin number 1. Jaga was taking you through it.
Oh.
A very impartial and
Oh.
neutral third party.
Anyway, with your partiality and impartiality, we're taking a short break, but keep it locked. This is Sharia Hub Pod, your go-to legal talk show where we get to analyze and dissect legal intricacies and jargons. My name is COLINES Mieku, but you can always opt for CM. and we are live at Shine FM 99.9. We're taking a short break. When we're back, we'll be getting into our second legal bulletin, then our third segment, and we call it a day. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. We'll be back in a few.